When it comes to the X-Men, there's someone for everybody. What's up guys, I'm KILLIAN, and today I'm going to list off the 10 best mutants in the X-Men. Now, due to the sheer volume of both former and current X-Men members, this is a list that will undoubtedly be met with varying degrees of criticism. With over 100 possible candidates, it was far from easy to select only 10, and there were mutants that came oh so close to cracking the list. But ultimately, I made my choices and I'm sticking to it, so let's get started. Starting our list off at number 10 is GAMBIT. It's really hard to have a 10 best X-Men mutants list and not include the Raging Cajun. I mean, what's not to love about the guy? He's suave, wears a cool trench coat, and always puts the Mac on Rogue, even though he knows she'll most likely drain him of his mojo. And by mojo, I mean his life force. Since first appearing in Uncanny X-Men number 266, GAMBIT has consistently remained one of the more popular members of the team, yet he's always floundered a bit on attempts to go out on his own. Even his rumored solo movie starring Channing Tatum can't seem to get off the ground, but at least there have been attempts to bring him to the big screen, even though most of us like to pretend Wolverine origins never happened. Is anyone out there trying to make a solo strong guy movie? Didn't think so. At number 9, we have a tie between Colossus and Kitty Pryde. These two lovebirds have broken up and gotten back together more times than Bieber and Selena Gomez. So much so, in fact, that it's nearly impossible to think of one without the other, which is why number 9 is a tie between the two. Individually, they are both powerful mutants with awesome powers, Colossus with his metal skin and Kitty with her ability to phase through objects. They both bring a lot to the table as members of the team. With that said, it's almost impossible to claim one is better than the other, and ultimately, it's when they're together that they are at their best. Number 8 is Rogue. The Southern Belle first appeared in Avengers Annual number 10, and like many of the more interesting X-Men members, like her almost lover Gambit for example, she began her comic book career as a villain. It didn't take long, however, for Rogue to see the error of her ways, and she would soon have a change of heart to become a vital member of the X-Men. She's a perfect example of how important the Xavier Institute for Gifted Youngsters truly is in helping mutants cope with their abilities while teaching them to use their powers for the betterment of mankind. Coming in the 7th spot is Jean Grey. It's hard to argue that few mutants have had a more lasting effect on the X-Men than Jean Grey. One of the team's original members, Jean Grey would have probably ranked higher on this list if she hadn't, spent so much time trying to kill her teammates as the Phoenix. Now granted, it's not really Jean's fault as much as she was just a vessel of sorts for the Phoenix Force, but it stands to reason that when your most famous story arc is you turning into a mega villain, then you go down a couple notches on the best list. Number 6. Deadpool. Now, originally Deadpool was thought of as more of a villain, but then somewhere along the line, fans really started to appreciate the fourth wall breaking zaniness of the Merc with a mouth, and his popularity just skyrocketed. So much so that he'd actually probably earn a higher spot if he'd spent a little more substantial time as a member of the team. Nearly everyone else on this list has been part of the team for decades, and we're talking since the 60s and 70s, so comparatively, Deadpool is still a noob. Number 5 is Storm. She rocks a white mohawk better than anyone. And oh yeah, did I mention she can control lightning and thunder and pretty much all the weather? Yeah, Storm is awesome. Perhaps no other member of the X-Men is as layered and complicated as Aurora Monroe is, though you wouldn't know that if you're only familiar with her portrayal by Halle Berry in the X-Men films. She's been both a lowly thief and worshipped as a goddess, but more often than not has proven herself to be one of the more reliable members of the group. And at number 4, I've got NIGHTCRAWLER. Is there a cooler character in the X-Men universe than NIGHTCRAWLER? I mean, his friggin' name is NIGHTCRAWLER. Let's discuss. First off, he's got all the classic traits of a villain. Yellow eyes, a blue demonic appearance, and a German accent. He should be downright scary, but in fact he's quite selfless and at times he's downright lovable. He's everyone's favorite drinking buddy. Secondly, his teleportation BAMF is one of the more awesome mutant powers. And finally, his weapon of choice is a swashbuckling pirate sword. Who wouldn't want to be NIGHTCRAWLER's best friend? Number 3. Professor X. Is he the coolest of the X-Men? No. Is he the flashiest? No. Charles Xavier, most of the time, can't even walk. But without him, you simply don't have the X-Men. He's often considered the Martin Luther King of mutant kind, and with good reason. It's his very beliefs and ideals that provide the foundation for the team. He's paved the way for everything the X-Men stand for, and up until very recently, provided the others with wisdom and guidance. Side note, Professor X also has the power to obliterate anyone he wants into nothingness with the power of his mind, and usually refrains from doing so. So yeah. Number 2. Wolverine. There are mixed opinions when it comes to Logan. While the old Canuck is unquestionably the most popular X-Man there is, many fans also feel like he's become oversaturated in recent years due to Marvel's over-reliance on making him the focal point of so many X titles. But let's not forget what made Wolverine so popular in the first place. His over-the-top gruff exterior is straight out of a Clint Eastwood movie, yet this hard-ass persona he presents is almost always a defense mechanism to cover up the fact that deep down, he's a guy who truly cares for those he loves. And he's more than willing to die for them. Ignore the fact that Wolverine's nearly impossible to kill. The point is, he would die if need be. And what's more noble than that? And finally, at number 1, Cyclops. I know. Put your pitchforks down and hear me out. I can literally hear you all angrily finger punching your keyboard. Scott Summers has been around ever since the beginning when he debuted in the X-Men number 1. Even though traditionally Cyclops has been one of the least popular mutants on the team, it's hard to argue he's become synonymous with the X-Men as their leader. While in the past he took on the role of a do-gooder Boy Scout type who was less a leader and almost more of a sidekick to Professor X, he's grown as a character since then. In recent years, he's become much more outspoken and audacious, even earning the respect of his longtime rival Wolverine. So who are your favorite mutants in the X-Men? Let me know in the comments, then go and check out some of our other videos, and most importantly, thanks for watching.